welcome. You're watching The Social Network on NDTV 24/7. I'm Kajari Sen, and what we're going to be talking about today is anonymity on the internet. Over the last few months, particularly with the Snowden disclosures and all the information coming out about PRISM, about the governments watching you, about India's own CMS, the question mark has arisen. Is there any way to have privacy on the internet? And now it seems that there are several suggestions coming from international startups who are saying that they can promise you anonymous social networking, they can promise you anonymous web browsing, they can promise you anonymity pretty much across the board. How true are these promises and what are the implications? That's what we're going to be talking about on The Social Network today: anonymity, accountability, and social media. And joining us are guests, Prabir Purkayastha, the founder of newsclick.in, with us on the show, as well as Subi Chaturvedi, e-governance expert. And we've got joining us on Skype Prithviraj Ameena, the CEO of a new social networking website that is being set up. We're going to be talking to all of them about this. Let's start off with you, Subi. Let's first talk about the increasing awareness among internet users that they are in fact possibly being watched 24 hours every time they log on, and therefore clearly the need for anonymity seems to be something that is now cognizant.
Kajori, I think I'm thrilled. I'm just so delighted that this hard-won battle of the journey of the slave to the citizen, the fact that when you receive a service, you can ask for terms and conditions, the fact that when you sign up on an agreement, if you disagree, you can have a conversation with the service provider and say that you're not okay with this. We're looking at about 840 million mobile phones, about 740 million active connections in India, and about 190 million people who are online. The next billion are going online, not from anywhere else, but from India. And we're looking at a lot of young people, a lot of digital natives. I think anonymity strikes at the heart of the conversation, which is about freedom of speech and expression. The internet is about trust. It is about reposing your faith in a medium where you don't see it physically, you don't see it tangibly. None of us experience the pipes that make the internet. But the fact that we're about to believe in a system and share information, this need for accountability, and you can ask questions of governments when you're told that this is for your own safety. The conversation isn't about national security. The conversation is about the rights of the individual user, and they're not an either-or situation. We're asking questions, and we're saying that when we look for accountability, we look for transparency, even when we want to protect us, even when we're using services, and when the corporates
No,
might
I mean,
just be
I think
letting us
that's
down.
pretty much indisputable, Subi. But let's take this over to Prabir now. You know, we've got the statistics from Subi, and the indisputable point, Prabir, that at the end of the day, accountability is necessary. But is anonymity the way to ensure that there is nobody watching? Is that the way? Is that a way of avoiding accountability as well? What, in your opinion, would be the pros and cons of anonymity in this situation?
I think there are two completely different questions. One is that when we talk about some service provider giving us anonymity, the question again is that anonymity being provided for the person we are actually giving the service to? Are there backdoors? Is NSA able to get behind that? Those are kind of questions we have also to look at, because all this anonymity or the not giving data to governments was supposed to be what a number of service providers have promised us earlier, and we know they're false. So given that, a new promise of anonymity also carries with it who's providing this, making this promise, and how secure are they? Which is the party? If you're located in the United States, that all these promises of such companies are meaningless, because under the FISA Act, the US has the right to get even your encryption keys. And that's why one of the major service providers who used to provide Snowden, the email service, is closed down, because he said under these conditions I cannot work. Now, that is one part of it. The second part of it is, if we have complete anonymity on the net, as could be argued is what is desirable, then how do you prevent conditions where riots takes place through anonymous hate speech? Whereas you have seen, whether it's Muzaffarnagar riots, We have seen earlier the case of Rohingyas. We had the Bangalore mass fleeing by Northeast people. All this shows that there is also something we need to take into consideration which really has to do with the social fabric of a country. And I do believe that under certain conditions, we have to stop communications, otherwise you will really have an issue of riots taking place. That's why the mass, for instance, SMSs were stopped at that point of time.
Right. We're going to get back to it, but let me quickly go over to Prithviraj. Now, Prithviraj, we're talking about you as somebody who is planning to set up a social networking website, uflick.com. Now tell me, as someone who's grown up in the era of social networking, as somebody who plans to set up a social networking website, are these risks that you are aware of?
Well, anonymity in social network is not expected because, it's ironic. Basically, it's ironic. Because social media basically involves expressing yourself and, sharing and, sharing your views, thoughts and everything. So basically, if you're anonymous, there's no point of social networking. How can you create friends, meet new people if there's anonymity? So there's, I don't support anonymity totally here.